All right, today we're going to unpack a single sentence. Just one. But, it has an idea inside it that's so powerful, so fundamental, that if you really get it, it can completely change how you experience your day-to-day life. So let's dive in. And here it is. This is the whole thing we're looking at today. Just take a second to read it. It seems almost too simple, right? But believe me, packed into these few words is a complete blueprint for resilience, for inner peace. We're going to break it down piece by piece to really see where the magic is. So let's start at the beginning. The first part of this quote points to the true source of your power. This is ground zero. This is where your control actually begins. It draws a really clear line in the sand, telling you exactly where your authority is. Let's just focus on these words for a sec. You. This is all about you. It's personal. Then power. This isn't just a nice thought. It's a declaration of something you already have. And finally, mind. This is your arena. This is the one place where you are absolutely in charge. Now, when we say your mind, what are we really talking about? It's not some fuzzy, abstract idea. We're talking about the concrete stuff you have direct influence over. The thoughts that run through your head, the judgments you make about things, how you choose to respond emotionally, and the stories you tell yourself about what's happened. Okay, so let's move on to the next part, which is just as important. Knowing where your power begins is only half the battle. You also have to really understand and, more importantly, accept where it stops. And this, right here, is where you find freedom. The quote is crystal clear. This power you have does not extend to the world outside of you. Think about it. So much of our stress, our anxiety, our frustration, it comes from trying to control things that were never, ever ours to control. So what counts as outside events? Well, it's pretty much everything else, isn't it? What somebody thinks of you, that traffic jam that makes you late, a sudden downpour, what the economy is doing, these are all things that happen to us, but they aren't us. This slide just lays it all out, side by side. Look at the column on the left. Your judgments, your responses, your focus. That's your domain. That's your kingdom. Now look to the right. What other people do, what happened in the past, the economy. That's all outside your walls. The whole philosophy here really just boils down to one simple discipline. Pour all of your energy into the column on the left and learn to let go of the one on the right. Okay, so we get it. We know the difference between what's in our power and what isn't. But, just knowing it, that's not enough, is it? The next part of the quote is the real game changer. It's the active ingredient that turns this knowledge into a tool you can actually use. So there's this gap, isn't there, between knowing this idea in your head and actually living it in your gut. So what's the bridge? What's the one thing that gets you from one side to the other? 2 words, realize this. This is the absolute heart of the whole instruction. And you gotta notice, realize is a verb. It's an action. This isn't about passively nodding along and saying, yeah, that sounds nice. It's about actively, deeply, and constantly internalizing this difference every single moment of the day. So how do you actually do that? Well, you can think of it like a little 3-step mental workout. First, you acknowledge. Something happens and you just label it in your head. Okay, that event is external. My reaction to it is internal. Second, you shift. You deliberately pull your focus away from the thing you can't control and turn it back inward. And third, you choose. You consciously pick your response instead of just letting some automatic knee-jerk reaction take over. And that brings us to the grand finale of the quote. If you do this, if you really focus your power on your own mind and truly realize that distinction, what happens? What's the payoff for all this internal work? This is it. This is the reward. And the strength we're talking about here isn't about lifting weights. It's a deep, internal fortitude. It's the kind of strength that doesn't crack when the world outside gets completely chaotic. And you can see how it works right here. It all flows from that one single core realization. This one conscious act of separating what's inside you from what's outside you. It's like the key that unlocks all these other forms of strength. So what does this strength actually look like in real life? Well, it's resilience. It's the ability to bounce back from a setback because you know that setback doesn't define who you are inside. It's clarity because you're not getting distracted by all the noise you can't control. It's a real calmness under pressure because your peace doesn't depend on everything going perfectly. And what does that all add up to? An unshakable inner stability. So let's make this practical. Ask yourself this question right now. What is one external thing, a worry you have about work, what someone thinks of you, some future you can't predict. What's one thing you can consciously decide to release your mind from starting today? Because the moment you let it go, that's the moment your real strength begins.